I'm personally very concerned about the coronavirus, mainly because we've been relying on data from the Chinese government that has repeatedly been shown as unreliable. We still don't know what the real origin of the virus is or what the intermediary species were, which means we don't fully understand it or know how to contain it. And since we've been relying on Chinese government data, which has been disproven through independent reporting and leaked documents, we don't fully know how contagious or lethal the virus is. Now, as a reporter who has been researching the Chinese Communist Party for more than a decade, I know its drastic attempts to contain the virus are out of character. Its two priorities are social stability and economic stability. And its approach to lock down major cities on one side and shut down factories on the other have put both these areas in jeopardy. This tells me the regime regards this virus as more of a threat to its power than social upheaval or economic collapse, and I find that very alarming.
Since the first coronavirus case hit the United States, the stock market has been in a free fall. When compared to previous pandemic outbreaks, like swine flu under the Obama presidency in 2010, the response to COVID-19 has been blown out of proportion. Swine flu wasn't classified as a national emergency in the United States until at least 12,000 deaths were documented. The stocks were hardly affected by that outbreak because the media didn't put fear in the public's heart and minds with end-of-the-world scenarios. They also didn't promote a financial crisis in order to root out President Obama like they're doing with Trump and the coronavirus. Media outlets are politicizing the outbreak by telling the public the best way to make sure President Trump isn't reelected is by having a financial crisis before reelection, even if it means using the coronavirus to instill fear in the United States citizens.
Hello, I'm David Grasso, and you're watching Bold TV. Of course, you've probably noticed that coronavirus is spreading around the world, and we're all wondering, how concerned should we be? So let's hear from our panelists who are going to discuss exactly that. We have Christopher Wright, the founder of the Conservative Republican Alliance in New York, and Joshua Philipp. He's a friend of Bold, and he's also a senior investigative reporter for the Epoch Times. Welcome to you both.
Hey, thanks for having me.
How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Okay, so not all of the facts are set straight, and we heard from you at the top, Josh. What's the problem with COVID-19 or the coronavirus in terms of what we know about it?
The biggest problem in my research is that we don't know much about it. What we know is what we see on the surface, which is that in China, the Chinese Communist Party locked down just about every city in the country. We saw people in hazmat suits walking down the street with disinfectant, guns.
It looks serious on its face. Yeah.
Mobile incinerators, doing who knows what. The situation in China seems extremely serious, and the Chinese government, as I mentioned, saw it as serious enough to basically collapse their own economy, which when you're dealing with social stability there, that's their biggest thing. They're putting this over basic social stability.
So you're saying it's very serious then?
They would not react that way if it wasn't. And the problem is we're not getting real numbers out of there. We still don't know what the real origin is. We still don't know what the intermediary species were. They said it was a pangolin. They got proven false, so they've been lying to us. We don't know what we're up against.
So, Chris, you're more attacking this from a political angle where you're saying, swine flu killed a lot more people back in 2009, and now you're saying this is being used as a weapon to bring down the Trump administration.
I'm seeing it more politicized than anything because anytime we're having a situation like this in America, what we need to be doing is coming together as citizens. It doesn't matter what side you're on. It shouldn't be politicized. And you've seen the media, they're taking this coronavirus and pretty much using it as a political purpose. And they're pretty much saying, like, some people are calling it, the news outlets are calling it the Trump virus and situations like that. And it's like, if you look at the bigger picture, it's like, what are you guys really trying to do by, present it to the public like this? Tell them what's really going on. Tell them there's over half of the citizens that got the coronavirus already are pretty much improving health-wise. But they're not mentioning it.
I think both sides are politicizing this. I think this has become editorial, and I think Josh makes a good point. We don't really know what this is. Hopefully it just disappears. Poof, it'd be great. But this is a serious threat to our health. We're all worried about it.
Oh, yeah,
I had
of course.
a sore throat this morning, and I'm like, oh, my God, I'm done.
Of course,
and half our staff feels the same way. So, yeah, sure, it's being politicized. But does that negate the fact that this is potentially very serious?
No, it doesn't negate the fact you got to take it very serious. That's why, they're saying wash your hands, make sure you're, properly sanitized when you're, even when you're not eating, which makes total sense. You got to take it seriously, but it's not end of the world serious, which is what I'm looking at is when they present it to the public, they present it in a way that's like
who's
life or death.
The media?
The mainstream media. Yeah, a lot of mainstream.
Well, we don't really have an option in terms of media, right? Josh, you're in the media. What do we do? I mean, this is obviously a very big deal, right? We don't want to create alarmism, right? But we want to talk about this, of course.
Yeah, so with us at Epoch Times, what we've been trying to do is get the real story out of China. Because if we don't get the real story out of China, then we don't know how to deal with it. And so we've been, making phone calls into China. We've been calling, for example, the crematoriums, finding out they're operating 24/7. Hospitals.
So real hard-nosed investigative journalism to really figure out what the extent of the problem
because
is.
how are we going to prepare for it abroad if we don't know what countries going through it are already dealing with? And right now, only 4 countries we can really look at. China, Iran, which isn't giving us information, South Korea, which is a little opaque, and then Italy, which it seems to be really bad there. Now they're saying they don't have enough they don't have enough beds in the hospitals. They're telling doctors not to even bother treating older patients.
Yeah, and that's where we find ourselves, Chris, is that Italy was where we were at 2 weeks ago. So how do we not take this seriously?
No,
What does a member of the media do? I'm doing this panel today to try to, talk about this, but I'm greatly concerned about this.
No, and you're doing a great job by doing what you're doing now, talking about this, but not in a panicking way to put fear in people's hearts. Like Epoch Times, they're a great news source, in my opinion. I don't consider them, when I talk mainstream media, I call lamestream media as a joke. But when I talk about them, that's not one of the news sources I consider, because they give you the straight up and honest reporting is what we need as Americans. Give it to me. If it's serious and there's things are going on, and like Italy is a situation, they got pretty much the whole nation quarantined off right now. Right now, it's very serious over there. So I want to know what's going on and give me the information. I'm not afraid of it, but let me know the truth.
Here's the question, Josh. Have we done enough? Politics aside. Let's be apolitical here. This isn't Democrat or Republican. We all get the virus, okay? It's a foreign virus, sure, but that doesn't really matter. It's a virus that affects all of us. Have we done enough here in the United States?
If you were to ask me, there's only so much we can do. I think that Trump has done everything he can to some extent. It's hard for him to do too much because he gets attacked every time he does a little bit more. I really think he was absolutely right in putting the travel ban on China. He got attacked for it. Thank God he did it. And, we'll see.
How about testing, though?
I
have a cousin in Miami that potentially has the virus, and they don't have test kits in Miami.
It's the same thing in New York. I've heard from doctors they can only do about 200 tests a day, and they're limiting that basically to severe cases. So we don't even know.
Well, I mean, here we are hanging by a thread. Well, thank you, panel, for weighing in on this. We have more questions than answers, but I appreciate your input.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate the opportunity to hear my voice heard, so thank you.
Yeah. And thank you all for watching and for being here for today's panel. Have a great day and stay healthy.